See you. Hi, I'm Chaya Agarwal and your host for today and founder of Life on a Canvas. I'm really happy that all of you are viewing me today and have taken out your precious time to be with us, especially for my first live show. It really means a lot to me. Today we have with us a dashing, gorgeous, enthusiastic young lady, the lady behind the most upcoming school in Kolkata. We have with us Swati Saraogi, the founder of Swarnim International School. Welcome, Swati, and thank you so much for being here with us today. It is indeed a pleasure, and I'm really happy that you could take out time to be with us today. It means a lot to me, trust me.
Thank you, Chaya. I'm equally excited for your new venture. So all the very best.
Thank you so much. So before we start off today, I would like to say a little bit about Swati. Not that she needs any introduction. Swati, you don't need any introduction because I'm sure a lot of people would be knowing you. But I'll just say a few words about you. Swati has been involved in the field of education for over 15 years as a teacher in Singapore as well as in India. She is an alumni of the Harvard School of Education. She's got an MA in psychology and a master's in education from Australia. She is also the territory head in Kolkata of the Early Childhood Association. She is a member of the school management committee of the Heritage School. Swati, so much. Okay. And she is also, besides that, an avid Rotarian. It is indeed a pleasure to have her with us today. She moved from Singapore to Calcutta to start Swarnim because being the mother of two boys, she often felt that the education system was outdated, non-inclusive, and unproductive. Therefore, her school's endeavor is to promote how to think and not what to think amongst children. So Swati, before we start our conversation, I would like you now to say a few words to us.
Chaya, before we start the dialogue, I mean, your life on a canvas, that itself is so interesting. You know, it's very captivating, and I'm sure the audience would also like to know what exactly is this about. What is life on a canvas?
Okay, life on a canvas actually began during the lockdown. Okay, I'm being very blunt about it. During the lockdown, I was sitting idle And just one fine day, I decided to pick up my iPad and I decided to doodle. And then when I gradually got into doodling, there were so many people who wanted to see my doodles, who wanted to see my art, that I decided to give it a name and get on, to expand to more people. So now I thought that our lives are, just like when we are born, they are blank canvases, they are empty white canvases. But then as life goes on, it's us who decide whether we want to paint it colorful or whether we want to leave it black and white or just blank. So I decided to name my art Life on a Canvas. Now, gradually from there, I decided, because I'm very inquisitive in nature, so I decided to explore people, because you come across so many people. Every person is different. I would say that even twins are different. So I decided to name my talk series also Life on a Canvas, because it deals with the life of different people.
Absolutely. So in education, we have this term called tabula rasa,
Hmm.
blank slate. So when a child comes to us, he is tabula rasa, and it is up to us, educationists and parents, of course, they're the first primary people in the child's life, how they fill it in. So beautiful, beautiful. And all the very best to you. I hope Life on a Canvas is, very beautiful, of beautiful colors and adds a lot of joy to everybody's lives.
Thank you so much, Swati. That really means so much to me. Now, Swati, just before we
Before we go further, I got a little gift for you.
Oh
This
wow, thank you so much. That really means so much to me. You made it.
is was inspired by your workshop, and I've been watching that, and then I made this for myself. And I must say, lockdown is really bringing out the most creative aspects. So many beautiful things are emerging out of the lockdown. We might just miss, this some parts of it once it's over.
Yeah,
Hope.
actually, because what I do right now is on every Wednesday, I do have my free classes which I hold on Facebook Live, and a lot of people are watching me because I do a lot of art. Like I show them a mandala drawing, Zen drawing, and this Wednesday I have come up with a totally new concept which has not yet been introduced in India.
Oh, wow.
So I just hope that a lot of people do come and watch it on this Wednesday.
Great.
So
Great.
Swati, before we start, there are just a couple of questions. I really want to know about your journey from you left Singapore and you came to India. And it's been quite a hopscotch round for you, because you were in Calcutta first, then you shifted to Vizag for some time, then you went to Singapore, then again you're back in Calcutta. How do you feel about the whole thing, traveling? Your life's been such a journey. So, how do you feel this journey has helped you? How do you feel this journey has enriched you?
So I like to think of my life as four chapters. The first one was, of course, as a girl in Kolkata, growing up in school, and how we all were. Chaya and I myself are school friends from Loreto House, and then of course I got married and I came to Vizag, and that is chapter two of my life, where I was the young bride, the mother, the daughter-in-law. So it was a joint family. So my life was pretty much about being part of the family, and my children were very young, so it was largely devoted to raising them. Then we moved to Singapore in 2010. And that phase I'd like to call chapter three, where I was working as a teacher over there. And that was very professional. It was a very ambitious phase of my life, where I was, part of the Toastmasters. I was running my own house. I was running of course, I was at work from 8 to 6. So those were very long hours, and those were very focused hours.
Okay.
Now, when I went back to Kolkata in 2016 to start Swarnim, that is my entrepreneurial years, where I want to bring whatever I've accumulated all over the years back into one place and try and give back, in a way that I think will benefit people. I hope. When I was in Vizag, I was also teaching. When I was in Singapore, I was teaching. And when I was in Kolkata, I was, as a student, of course, but I was doing my, on holidays, I would go and teach. There was an NGO behind my house. I was teaching over there. On evenings, there would be some children who would want tuition, so I would give them tuition. So it's been a very mixed bag of teaching, and I've been pretty much doing it, for
Okay.
a little bit. time, yes.
So you always knew that you want to go into teaching?
I always knew I wanted to go into teaching, yes.
Okay. And
I,
sorry.
after teacher for so many years, I thought that running a school would be like a natural progression, but I was so mistaken. It requires a total set. It's more about running a business. It's more about they're more there. I love walking into the children's classroom and being there and sitting with them and seeing how they are learning, what they are learning. But unfortunately, the commitments, they keep me in my office, and that is the part where I realize that I have to know about far more deeper things than just than being involved in the educational part of it only.
Yeah, there's a lot of administration also involved in having a school. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you have to look into the administration part of it also. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So now, can you tell us something about Swati, the person who we don't know? We know about you as a mother. We know about you as an administrator, about you as a teacher. But what is that part of you that we don't know? What can you tell us about that part of yourself that we don't know? I really want to know that, because you're doing so many things. You're an avid Rotarian. You are a member of an NGO. You are, taking care of early childhood education in Calcutta. The your this Early Childhood Association in Calcutta. So what is it that we don't know about you? How are you
I,
as a person? How are you at home?
I love trekking. I love going on solo holidays. So those are the crazy parts of me. So I've trekked up to Machu Picchu, and I've gone up to Mount Kailash, and I went to Nag Tippa last year in India. And I've done a lot of solo trips also, which are absolutely life altering, and I would recommend them highly to everybody, even if it's for a weekend or for 3 days or whatever it is that you can manage to get out. I think they're a great way to really get in touch with yourself and find out who you are. I enjoy reading. A lot of times I have, sometimes I enjoy dancing till the wee hours of the night. Sometimes I enjoy reading. So that, of course, depends. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, all that is part of us as we grow along.
Okay. Okay. And tell me something. How are you different as the Swati at home and the Swati at school? So what's your leadership style like?
At home, I'm a very relaxed person. I don't like to be in the
Do
driver's.
your kids feel the same way?
I think they do. I hope.
Okay. You're a chilled out mom.
Yeah, I am. So that's the thing I get back, and I've got a lot of nephews and nieces. So apparently, I'm the cool one with most of them, with all of them. And uh, at school, I'm very driven. I'm very focused, and so my sons. One of my son is studying in Singapore. The other one is in the army over there. And my husband's work keeps him traveling a lot. So we have this ritual where we'll talk every day in the morning, all four of us. And my school ride from my house to school is about 50 minutes. So that gives me a good enough time to catch up with everybody, with all four of us, between the four of us. Sometimes if they miss my call and they call me back, by just my hello, they know that I've reached school, because in the
Oh, okay.
relaxed hello. And as soon as I'm at work, it's like more like a driven, let's get work done kind of thing. So yeah, but I think that's the difference here.
Okay, okay, okay. And being a mom to two teenage boys, I think they're teenage boys or they've crossed their teenage years. So, what advice would you kind of give to that age group of today? Because even I've got my elder son who is, nearly just going to be crossing his teenage years. So it's always good taking advice from a parent who's gone through this stage. So what advice would you like to give any mom? It's just not me. What advice would you like to give any mom with teenage children? Because that's the most important years of the child's life. It's the most crucial years, it's the most changing years. So what advice would you like to give the children of today, the teenagers of today?
So there are two parts to your question: is the advice to the mothers and the advice to the children. I think to mothers, I would say that patience, tons and tons of,
Tons of patience.
that's all you need to deal with children who are growing up, because they are trying to discover themselves, and we just have to step back, and we have to be able to let go, to snip that umbilical cord. What happens is that since the moment they are born, our lives are so consumed by them, what they're going to eat, where they're going to go, what's going to be happening every moment of their lives. And when they become teenagers, they obviously want to spread their own wings, and as mothers, we are scared to let them go, scared for them and scared for us,
For
because
us.
we're emptiness ourselves. And for them, of course, we feel that they may not be able to handle the big bad world, so to say. So I think, we have to let them experiment. They have to find, we're always there for them, and they always know that. So my advice really is to parents that just have a lot of patience and have trust your child. He will maneuver his way, and he will come back to you when he gets stuck. He knows that you're there, you've got his back.
So
So that,
basically, you're saying that it is a lot of upbringing. Upbringing counts a lot, and
absolutely.
the warmth and the affection that you share with them. So you must be more like a friend to them than a parent, or should you be a parent to them, or how would you rate your equation with your children?
So up till they are 14, 15, you have to be only a parent, like the authoritative, or a little more in control kind of thing, setting boundaries for them. But after 15, you have to start letting go a little bit, and definitely become their friend. Because even if you try and micromanage their lives, you will not entirely ever know what they are doing. So you have to trust your own instinct, that you've given them the right values, and that, they will not let you down. That's very important for to be friends with them, so that they can come back to you and confide in you. Their journey is going to be difficult, and their journey is going to be theirs, no matter what we do. So they will have to maneuver their way through it, and they have to know we are there for them at all times.
So what would you like to tell the youth of today?
I think the youth of today is quite sorted. They're very smart. I'm very impressed whenever I talk to them. They're not as, you know, uh, as lost as we may think they are. But I'm very, but the struggles are more. I think that the challenges they face are also a lot more. So I think, I don't think we can give a advice to youth of today, because every person is so different. So uh, only thing is that I think that if you have a passion, you must take it up. The universe loves a stubborn heart. Go out there and make a mark.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Because that's exactly the way I feel. You can't really give them advice now, because they are not in the age of taking advice. They would rather explore and then make their own mistakes and then rectify their mistakes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Swati, how do you manage home and school and Rotary and your NGO and so many other things that I mean, how can one person handle so many things?
So, like I said, it came at a point where my children were not with me anymore. So that gives me a lot more time and a lot more flexibility to work many hours, many odd hours into the night. And I think it's something I really enjoy. Networking is absolutely essential, integral to survival. So, I'm part of the Flow, the FICCI Ladies organization. I'm on the committee of that as well, the Early Childhood Association, as you mentioned. I'm the territory head of that of Kolkata. So all these commitments take up a lot of time, yes, but there's so much learning, and there's so much of networking that I think there's so much to learn, like your life on a canvas. There's so much to learn from each person that we meet. So there's so much to learn from every organization that has a different mission. So you want to be out there and you want to be part of it.
Okay. Okay, that's good. And okay, now I would like to ask you one main question. The main question. What is the secret of your success?
Ah, um, no. um, I think like Indira Nui once said, that we can have it all, but maybe not at the same time. So I think it's about that for the first, like the chapter 2 that I said, I gave so much of my time and of myself to my family that they are now there for me entirely and wholeheartedly. So I like to call this, the multiple joys, like there's multiple intelligences we have in education where we have different people have different certain intelligences. In the same way, I think we can have different multiple joys at different phases of our life. So sometimes it is a lot of, just motherhood is such an amazing feeling, it's so beautiful. Sometimes a professional satisfaction that you derived, rather than think about the emptiness, if you focus your energies onto that, that could be something, the professional satisfaction you get. So I think we can't try and have it all, but we can have it all, maybe not at the same time. And um, my my thing would be that, guilt is something that is given to an Indian woman as like a janam kutti. She is fed on that, and it becomes parent, it just becomes so much of a part of a persona that, we are never easy on ourselves at all. So I think when we teach it, when our children grow up and we allow them to take off, that's also a time when we allow ourselves, we rediscover our own passions, we rediscover our own dreams, and we want to dedicate our lives to that. Then I don't know, it's about a superwoman, I don't know, it's about being successful. I think it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of passion, because without passion there's nothing you can achieve. And of course there's lady luck. Then nothing to discount the fact that, success, definitely there's an element of luck to that.
What is the best advice that you could give anybody? I mean, if someone came and asked you for advice, what do you think is the best advice that you could give anybody at this stage, at what you're standing at today? What do you think is the best advice that you could give anybody?
So between the four of us, my husband and my kids, we have this thing called "this too shall pass." And when you say at this point, even for COVID times, that's something we just have to kind of act as a reminder for us. That is something, whoever's having a tough time between the four of us, we tell the other person, and we kind of kept it as an anchor that nothing lasts forever, whether it's good times or bad times, everything will come and everything will go. So this too shall
That
pass.
is so sweet. That is like your family motto.
That's our family motto, yes.
That is so sweet. Seriously, it's really touching and it's really cute. Really sweet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Swati, now I think we've had a good talk. I've come to know a lot about you. I think our audience also would have come to know a lot about you. Now I've got a game for you. Okay. It is a quick 20 question round. It is, you have to, yes, you have to answer the fastest you can. No thinking, spontaneous answers.
Do I get a coffee hamper, Chaya, after that?
Uh, Definitely. If you were here in Calcutta, we definitely meet up for a coffee. But I think we'll take a rain check on that and just wait. When you come back to Calcutta, we can definitely do that. Okay. By the way, we are having this conversation when Swati is not in Calcutta. She is in Trichy right now. Yes. Sorry, she's in Vizag. She's in Vizag right now. Yeah, she's in Vizag right now. So. So we'll start this. It's a quick rapid fire round, okay? And I want you to think spontaneously. I would love to know what your answers are. Okay, which product would you refuse to endorse?
Cigarettes.
Okay. How can you tell if someone's a geek?
My children think I am a geek because I genuinely enjoy studying. But I think somebody who can't explain what they do to a 5-year-old, if you can't have a conversation with a 5-year-old, then you can't explain your line of work, then that's a little geeky.
Okay, which fashion trend do you just not get?
Wearing things that don't suit you only because. No.
Okay, just because everybody is wearing them, you wear them and it doesn't suit you. Perfectly understandable. Your best feature?
I like life. I think that enthusiasm, that never say never, that is should be.
Okay. Which song do you hear the most and why?
Oh, I love Mamma Mia. I love ZNMD. I think they're very uplifting. So those are absolute. Whenever I'm a little blue, that's it. I listen to those.
Okay. Okay. Now this one's a lovely one. Okay. How old were you when you had your worst haircut? And what was it?
All through childhood, I had this boy cut, which was the easiest to maintain. Nothing required. I mean, you must be remembering me from all my school years. I've just had a boy cut. So
I remember, I remember Swati in school, and she used to come with this headband on and boy cut. And I think you used to wear specs at that time, and you were a topper in school. And I used to keep thinking, this girl's such a bright student, this girl's such a bright student. And I couldn't say anything else after that. And I mean, you look the perfect geek to me.
I told you.
Okay, okay. Next one. If you could change one thing about your looks, what would it be?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
That's very nice. What fortune would you like from a fortune cookie?
Mm. I've been blessed, Chaya. I really have. I've got everything I could want. So thank you. I'm good.
Okay. One food that you wouldn't want to give up.
Cold coffee. Cold coffee hands
Ditto.
down.
I so understand you.
Yeah.
Okay. If you won ₹1,000,000, what would you buy?
This could be COVID times, but I mean, a trip around the world, just go and explore the entire, everything. Just see
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Now, if you had the access to a time machine, which period would you want to go into? Would you want to go into the past or would you want to go into the future? And which period would you want to go into?
So I've been reading this book by Phil Knight, and he's the owner of Nike, and he talks about he's written this memoir. It's his autobiography. He's written this at his ripe old age, and he talks about how he started Nike, and all the trials and tribulations that they went through. And we generally, when we think of such conglomerates, we think that they were always very successful, but this book gives us an insight into how many struggles they faced, what are the risks they had to take. He was always very debt ridden, all of that. And right at the end, he says that I have only one regret in life, and that is that I wish I could go back and do it all over again. So I think that's a beautiful life if you feel that you can, you would like to relive it. So I think I would hold on to your time machine, and then maybe, come back and relive life again.
Okay. Okay. What is it that everyone else loves, but you find it very overrated?
TikTok.
Ditto. I also find it overrated.
I'm so glad it's banned now. I think it was just such a waste of time.
It's a good thing it's been banned.
Absolutely.
Okay, black and white, black or white?
50 Shades of Grey. There's no black or white in this world. Nothing.
Okay. A home on the mountains or on the beach?
So I am in Vizag right now, which is on the beach. So maybe a home in the mountains.
Okay. And if you could be any fictional character, who would you be?
Peter Pan, maybe. Yeah.
Sorry?
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Why?
Just forever young.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The worst lie you've ever told?
I'm going to sound even more geeky when I say this, Chaya, but I don't think it's a lie. I've never.
Is that the lie that you're saying?
That could be it. I don't know. No, I really haven't lied.
Okay.
I
You avoid lying.
I have a terrible memory. And it really helps that I don't lie, because I never have to remember how I'm supposed to cover up, with who I'm supposed to say what or whatever. People closest to me, my family takes absolute advantage of the fact that that my memory is most unreliable. But it helps that I've got a clear conscience, so it works.
Okay. Now that's a very good thing you said, that it's always better not to lie, because then you never know what you have to make up and say to the person, because one lie leads to 100 lies.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. The weirdest nickname that you've ever had?
My name itself has afforded so many, like in Calcutta, of course, there's no Swati, it is Shati. And then when I moved to Vizag, there is the T is always TH, so it becomes Swati. So, and even Saraugi for that matter, it's with a O, sometimes spelled with an O, sometimes with a W, A, sometimes with a W. So I've already had enough of by names itself. I don't need no more names.
Okay. Do you think double texting is a big deal?
No, I think most of us are multitasking. Most of us are double texting all the time.
Okay. And last question, if your life was a movie, what would be its name?
ZNMD. ZNMD.
Okay. Zindagi na milegi dobara.
Na milegi dobara. So go out there and do what you have to. So yeah, carpe diem. That's my motto.
Okay. Okay. So Swati, that was our session with you. It was a pleasure having you with us. Be successful. I hope Swarnim reaches greater heights, and all the best for your future. And to our audience today, thank you so much for being here with us. I'm really happy that you joined us on our first show. And please do keep watching us every Sunday at 6 o'clock in the evenings. Please do tune in. It'll be a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank,
Swati, bye. See you. Thank you.
thank you, and all the
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Swati.